Kip, welcome to Cork.
It's great being in Cork. My first time here. It's a beautiful, beautiful city and beautiful countryside.
Yes.
Beautiful day.
Yes, it is a beautiful day. We're fortunate with the weather. It's not always like this. Thank you for coming to UCC on the occasion of Neil Fest. We're excited to have you.
Just a great pleasure being here.
The conference is in honour of Neil O'Maracu, who, as you know, was my advisors for a master's when I was a student here years ago. One of the things that struck me, having had the experience of being taught by Neil, was that when I came back to Caltech for a postdoc in the early 2000s, I kept running into him because all of a sudden, wherever I would go that there were numerical relativists, he seemed to be there. He was suddenly in demand.
Now, we needed him badly at Caltech. We brought him there for 5 months in 2003. I was involved in LIGO, the effort to detect gravitational waves, and I was really worried that I believed the first thing we would see with these gravity wave detectors was colliding black holes. And in order to understand the waves when we saw them, we would have to have computer simulations of black holes going around each other, spiraling in and colliding. And I was worried because the simulations were not going well. And it became evident just a little before 2003 that one of the biggest problems was that we didn't understand the Einstein equations very well, the equations that were being solved numerically. We really needed help with these simulations, help from people who had a deep understanding of mathematics, and in particular the mathematics of Einstein's relativity theory. And Neil was one of those very few people who were at the absolute top. We brought him there for 5 months to give advice to the Cephircon simulations, and he was particularly crucial in helping us understand how to do much better in creating the initial shape of space-time around two black holes that are orbiting each other at the very beginning. By all of the methods people have been using, there was lots of disturbances in there, distortions of space and time that shouldn't be there. And they would go away after a while as gravitational waves, but they were there and we had to get rid of them. And he was a really wonderful source of advice from the mathematical end on how to deal with that.
And one certainly got the impression, but speaking as someone who was looking in from the outside, that this effort to go back to look at the initial conditions, as in any simulation, obviously it's very important to start from something that is correct, bore fruit somehow, because it was in 2005 that the big breakthrough happened in America.
It was, and so this was a significant part of the big breakthrough. The big breakthrough in the first successful simulations came in large measure from Franz Pretorius, who was a postdoc in our group and was there as part of the intellectual milieu in 2003. He was just getting his feet under himself. And having this group that had Neil on the very mathematical end bring in the key insights from mathematics, plus others who were much more focused on the computational methods, and others who were just very much more focused on the physics. And that combination was really crucial in enabling France to make the first big step in the breakthrough.
Certainly something that meant a lot to me, having been taught by Neil, and really had a very great experience with him. His eloquence and clarity and patience with the student, similar actually to yourself. I got the opportunity recently to talk to another one of your students, Jeffrey Lovelace, who said how much he benefited from interacting with Neil in this same period that you're speaking in.
Yes, no, we all did in that research group. But you know, I haven't mentioned the other great thing that Neil did for me. He trained you. And you came and you were a wonderful student in my research group. And I clearly owe a lot of that to you intrinsically, but also a lot to Neil, who seems to have been a really great advisor for you.
He was, yes. Well, thank you for those kind words. And it gives me an opening to say that I can still remember the day that I came down. here because the day before you had phoned yourself from Caltech to offer me a place there, and I was obviously very excited. And I came down here immediately the next day, bright and early, and told Neil, and he was almost equally excited. We were both very enthused, although he warned me. He said, Caltech is the Marine Corps of physics, so you'd better be ready as you go. So,
well, it seems to have been a good match.
yes. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Kip, for coming, and thank you
Thanks,
for
Dad.
talking to us.
It's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.